So I was trying to come up with a new series for you guys, and I came across a video I did a long time ago that you guys seem to like a lot. And that is my old vampire archetype video that I did way back in January of 2022. So I've decided I'm going to try to do that type of video again since I feel like I can probably do that video better now than I did back then. But we won't be covering the vampire archetype today. No, instead I'm going to start at the beginning with the acrobats. Let's dive in. So we of course first have to start with the acrobat dedication. You do of course have to be trained in acrobatics to take this dedication. However, the moment that you take this dedication, you become an expert in acrobatics automatically. And unlike other archetypes, it gets even better. You get master and legendary in acrobatics automatically the moment you can be. Which means most characters that take this archetype can be legendary in 4 skills rather than 3 by level 19. And on top of all of that, if you get a critical success to tumble through an enemy's space, you don't count those squares as difficult terrain. And the people that would take this archetype would have high dex, meaning your acrobatics check is going to be huge and you're going against reflex DC, not the high fortitude that Pathfinder is known for. So if you take this on the right character, you're gonna be able to critically succeed a lot more often than you think. So that gargantuan creature that you need to tumble through, now you only need to move 20 feet rather than 40 feet to tumble through their space. Next up we have the Contortionist feat. With this feat, you gain the Quick Squeeze skill feat, and if you're a master in acrobatics, you can squeeze at your full speed. Which of course, thanks to the acrobat dedication, you are guaranteed to be a master in acrobatics at some point. In addition, if you escape from someone using acrobatics, they are flat-footed against the next attack you make before the end of your next turn. That's right, the end of your next turn. You don't even have to attack them on that turn, and they'll still be flat-footed on your next turn. Which of course means you could either attack them while they're flat-footed this round, but you would take a -5 penalty because escaping has the attack trait. But them being flat-footed would make it a bit easier for you to hit them even with that -5. However, you could also wait until your next turn to attack them and take no penalty at all. But like all feats in this archetype, this is a great feat to take if you have high dexterity. Dodge Away is a fantastic feat for spellcasters that don't really have a whole lot of reactions. For a reaction, if you are the target of a melee attack and you are aware of the attack and not flat-footed, you can gain a +1 circumstance bonus to your AC against that attack. If the attack misses you, then you can immediately step after the strike. And if you're a master in acrobatics, which you would be 1 level after taking this feat, you can step 10 feet rather than 5, allowing you to get out of the reach of even creatures with reach weapons. Which means you can use this feat to negate an entire attack. Because once you step, the enemy has to move up to attack you. Another great feat for this archetype. For those of you that are new to archetypes, you should know that some archetypes allow you to take skill feats that are part of the archetype. These feats don't take up a class feat. Instead, you can just take this as a skill feat. And yes, it does count toward the 2 feats from the archetype that you need to take a second dedication. Graceful Leaper is one of these feats, and it allows you to use acrobatics instead of athletics to high jump and long jump, making it fantastic for characters that have high dex but low strength. With this feat, you don't even have to be trained in athletics anymore to high jump and long jump. That makes this feat excellent for any ranged characters, because they can use acrobatics to jump to a high place on the battlefield so melee enemies can't get to them. Next, we've got a new feat from Lost Omens Firebrands called Show Off. You can use this feat once per minute as a free action whenever you succeed at an athletics or acrobatics check deemed suitable enough for this feat by the GM. You attempt the triggering check again, and if you succeed, you gain the normal effects as well as temporary hit points. These hit points are equal to your level, or double your level on a critical success. This feat is okay. It's always good to have some temporary hit points, but this feat really doesn't do anything for anyone other than you. It does, however, keep you up for longer, which allows you to help your team more. But this feat by itself really doesn't do much for your team. Tumbling Strike is another fantastic feat. This feat basically allows you to tumble through and make a strike for one action. On a critical success, the enemy is even flat-footed to your strike. And even if you fail the acrobatics check, you still get to strike. At worst, this feat is a wasted action if you critically fail. But again, your acrobatics is going to be really high. So even if the opponent has a really high reflex DC, you're still probably going to be able to at least hit it. Unfortunately, there is a downside to this feat, however. It doesn't actually count as Tumble Through. So sorry, swashbucklers, but you're not going to get panache from this. But this is still one of the best feats in the archetype. It just doesn't work as well as I would like on swashbucklers. With Mockingbird's Disarm, as a reaction when you succeed at a check to tumble through or use Tumbling Strike, you can attempt to disarm the opponent whose space you moved through. While you do get to use acrobatics rather than athletics for this check, this is still not a great feat, as disarming an opponent is one of the worst things you can do with one action. This is one thing that I do hope they change in Player Core 1, because right now you have to critically succeed at the disarm check in order to actually disarm them. Other than that, disarm doesn't really do much to most enemies, even on a successful check. If you thought Tumbling Strike was good, wait till I talk about Tumbling Opportunist. As a free action, if your last action was Tumble Through or Tumbling Strike, you can attempt to trip the enemy whose space you move through using acrobatics rather than athletics. Attempting to trip an opponent, especially one with a low reflex DC, is always a great thing to do. And this feat lets you do it essentially as part of your Tumble Through action, making this feat great for fighters and rogues. Not only does it make them flat-footed, but it also makes them waste an action on their turn, which is always a good thing. I've got one more feat for the Acrobat archetype for you guys, and this one is from Firebrands, but it is actually pretty good. But please keep in mind that if you're playing in Pathfinder Society, this feat is not available to you. Quick Spring is another archetype skill feat. It allows you to move twice your movement when you tumble through. So even if you don't get that critical success on your acrobatics check to tumble through an enemy space, you can still move through it for one action, even if the spaces you move through do count as difficult terrain. So once you hit level 13 and you're able to take this feat, you no longer need to critically succeed on your acrobatics check to move through that gargantuan creature's space, which is a pretty big deal. Alright guys, if you enjoyed the video, leave a like, and if you like the content, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. You guys have been amazing, getting me to 4,000 watch hours on this channel. But my 3-year anniversary on this channel is coming up in August, and it would be great if I could get to that 1,000 subscriber mark and actually, get paid to do this by then. Like I said, you guys have been amazing, getting me to almost 800 subscribers. And if you like the content but you aren't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. It would really help me out. Thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, teamwork is vital.